All right. Hello, everybody. Hope that you are all doing well. And I want to thank you for showing up for episode 2 of Living Life on Purpose. And I know last time I took like 5 minutes waiting for people to jump on. So we're not going to do that this time. I have some stuff that we can cover up front just to make sure that we get moving. It's going to be a little different tonight. You're going to have to put up with looking at me tonight. I do not have a presentation to share with you. I'm just going to be talking to you the whole time. So hopefully you can handle that. Hopefully. So let me go ahead and open up here. So one thing I did want to just start with is my email is attached to is stuck to the side, so you have it there in case you need to get in touch with me in terms of sending me information about how things are going, any questions you have, those sorts of things. I do know, I don't know, Faith, if you're on here, I know that you had reached out to me, and for some reason my email had it had bounced back for some reason and didn't get to me. I did see your question on the replay, and I did try to get back to you. So hopefully you got that. But there's my email again. There shouldn't be any problem with it. So it's bob@fullofpotential.com. And again, feel free to get in touch with me at any point in time. If you have questions, comments, if you want to share victories and how this is helping you, whatever it is that you might want to share with me, feel free to go ahead and use that. And of course, anything positive like that, certainly feel free to share on my Facebook page as well. It's always good to see those things coming across. Okay. So the thing I thought I would share a little bit, I realized on my kickoff, I didn't really tell you guys a whole lot about myself. So I figured I'd just start with that a little, and that would give people a couple minutes if they need to get on. And I'm not going to tell you kind of my whole background because this would take a while, but I'll just give you a sense of kind of what led me to speaking and coaching and the kind of work that I'm doing here with each of you tonight. So basically, my passion to help people began at a very young age. I was one of those kids that the kids who are struggling and maybe getting into some trouble, things like that. For whatever reason, they were attracted to me, and just I became the person that they would come and seek out and talk to and share the really, in some cases, the really awful things that had been happening to them in life. And I think part of it is I always saw the potential in people. I didn't see the actions that they were taking or the things that they were doing or the struggle they were going through. I saw what could be beyond that. And I think that really that created a safe environment for those kids, and I was a kid at the time too, to kind of share with me and open up to me. So anyway, so I kind of, I always kind of just was that person. And then when I went to college, ironically, I went to college initially for biology, pre-med, enjoyed that and did well. But I soon started volunteering, and kind of a whole new world was open up to me. I realized that what I'd been doing my entire life, what I naturally did, kind of who I was and what I was passionate about could be my career. And so I changed my major to social work, and my dad was psyched. Maybe not. It all worked out. And then after college, I went on and I did social work for a number of years. I worked in group homes, after school programs, detention centers, worked for the Department of Social Services. I did a lot of different things in the social work field. And I loved that. I did. There were certain aspects of that I really loved. I loved working with the clients. Sometimes working with the systems weren't always ideal, but that went well. And then, kind of as time went by, I kept hearing more about coaching and heard more about speakers and things like that. And it really grabbed my attention because it was something in many ways that I was already doing. And so really what I did is I just kind of jumped in and started getting trained by some of the best in the world because I really wanted to offer the best to people that I was going to be working with. And so, kept doing that, started my own business, and, one thing led to another and just kept kind of moving along. And so that's really where I came from. And now with my coaching, I still do some life coaching. I do a lot of business coaching, but even with my business coaching, I do a lot of life coaching too, because that's just kind of part of it. And then I also do, with my business, I also do some marketing for people as well. So that's kind of me. And I'll be honest, like this stuff, just sharing about personal development and growth and overcoming obstacles and those kinds of things, that I love that. I mean, that's definitely, I would say, if I had to have a first passion, that's probably right up there. And so I love doing this kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me, and hopefully I've given some people some time to jump on. Those are a little latecomers. So first, I just wanted to review a little bit of what we talked about last week. And last week we talked a lot about where results come from and talked about kind of the whole process and looked at our mind. And we started with understanding that we kind of take in information and experiences with people and life situations, and all of that kind of moves into our conscious mind. And so all those things move into our conscious mind. And then from there, ultimately, some of that information, some of those situations, they move into our subconscious mind. And then the things that move into our subconscious mind ultimately become our habits, our belief systems, our paradigms, and those things turn into action. And therefore, from action comes results. And so basically what we talked about and what we learned is that whatever it is that's in your subconscious mind ultimately is going to lead to your results. So if you can somehow learn to put what it is that will get you to your greatest vision, your biggest desire, if you can move that into your subconscious mind, create a paradigm in there, and create those habits that will get you there, then you can definitely get there. The problem is most learn to do that and don't focus on doing that. Even people I talk to, a lot of people that I talk to, they get it and like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But then they don't really do anything about it, because this is what I'll tell you is, there's no magic pill, there's no easy formula. I'm not going to give you this easy formula and you'll just go and do it and all of a sudden you're going to be successful. And it's hard work to get there. It's hard work to change our paradigms. It's hard work to change our mind, to change our results. It's a difficult thing. So that's what we talked about. We also talked a lot about belief and how important it is to believe in yourself, believe in your potential, believe that you can get to where you really want to get to. And so that's just really, really essential. It can't be just kind of a hope or, yeah, that might happen. It needs to be true, sincere belief. Okay, so that's kind of what we talked about last week, just kind of generally looking at it. Today, we're going to kind of jump in a little bit more detailed. And what we're going to do is look at one of really the first steps, which is creating your ideal environment to grow, to experience maximum growth, really. And the thing to understand in that is that the more we can control what's coming in, the easier it's going to be to live out our vision, right? Because if we're controlling what's coming in, then it's going to limit what could potentially get into our subconscious, okay? Now, growing up, we don't have an opportunity to do that very much. We're like sponges. And so, a lot of us have been heavily directed and impacted by parents or other people in our life who have been in our life a lot, or life circumstances and situations. And those all impact us differently, but that has very much shaped who you are today. And Jim Rohn once said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So when you stop and think about that, if it's true, and I don't know that's exactly true, but there's definitely truth there for sure. And you assess and look at your life and think, I don't know if that's such a good thing sometimes, right? But we're going to talk more about that and talk about assessing that in a minute, because the reality is that really is the first step, is building that awareness and thinking about, who is it that I'm around? Who is it that's influencing me? So, in terms of building an awareness, the question is, well, who do you spend your time with? Who is it that you're hanging out with? Who's influencing you in your life right now? So day to day, when you think about your week, who are you spending the most time with? And listen, I understand. I know a lot of us here, we probably think, well, I'm a really strong person, I can handle it. And I get it. And maybe to some degree you can. But no matter who you are impacted by that on some level, especially for a lot of us, because a lot of us right now, we're busy that When we're busy and we're tired, we don't want to think. We don't want to use our mind. A lot of people don't use their minds. They just react based upon the paradigms they already have, the belief systems they already have. They don't actually think about stuff. They just react. That's a whole nother, that's going a little deeper. We'll get there in a week or so, maybe. But the point is you want to be thinking about who you're spending your time with, because it does make an impact on you, okay? Some other questions to think about is what do you read? What kind of material are you reading and studying and looking at? What are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding your mind, right? So not just what you read, but what do you watch? And listen, I'm all for, there's a few shows I watch once in a while, and just to relax, and I don't want to think, right? And I'm more into the kind of reality TV stuff, which can get overboard, I get it, but I'm still a people person, so I kind of like to watch how people interact and things. So I love those kind of shows. I do know some people, they don't watch any TV at all. That's not me. I do watch some. I don't watch a ton, but I watch some. And but you want to think about what you're putting into your mind when you're watching videos. Are you watching videos that are going to really help you to grow, or are they just kind of silly stuff or negative stuff or whatever? You know, most people don't realize what they're allowing in, and you probably don't to a degree either. I remember in one of the and I don't remember if I told this before, but I remember one of the groups that I was coaching at one point in time, I gave the homework assignment to them that I'm going to give to you in a minute. I have a few homework assignments tonight. It's up to you if you do them, obviously, because this is just a general webinar. I'm not your official coach at this point in time or anything like that, so it's up to you. But I will give you some homework assignments just to challenge you a little. But I remember telling everyone in the group what I wanted them to do is that week to go out, and I wanted them to really, really pay attention to who they were spending time with, what those people were like, how were they influencing? Were they mostly negative? Were they mostly positive? Were they helping them to grow, or were they more holding them back from growth? And just really assess that. And I remember a lot of people came back and they were really surprised by doing that. But not only that, there was one person in particular that was really, really impacted by it, and just had said, I didn't realize how many people in my life really were a negative kind of impact on me. And that person took some really big steps to kind of adjust some things in their life. And that, and that's going to be your first homework assignment, is to assess, to look and build an awareness, to assess who it is you're spending time with, and is it a negative or positive, to do that assessment. Okay, and we'll review the homework towards the end here. But once you've assessed, the next thing that you need to do is, obviously, you need to remove the negative, right? You need to remove the dream killers, the just be satisfied, crowd, the be realistic crowd, the you're crazy if you really think you're going to be able to do that crowd. You got to remove those people. Now, I understand when I say that, that's easier said than done, especially with certain people. Okay, so let me speak to just a couple of those to help you out a little bit. So first is thinking about who those people are, right? So first, it might just be media. There might be just certain media that you're watching that is bringing you down, and that's certainly important to look at, and that's pretty easy to cut out on some level. So if you see that, you just cut it out. You just don't do that anymore. Okay. Now, and then you have acquaintances. Maybe there's people who spend time with once in a while in certain situations, and I would just say in those situations that's relatively easy too. Is just try to avoid those situations as much as possible. Now, this is where it gets a little more complicated. Then we get to friends. And I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but I do think you need to evaluate. And I would never say, for me, I always like to think that I'm a friend to all of my friends forever. I'm actually not great at staying in touch for whatever reason, but I'm always there for people. If people want something, need something, whatever, I'll try to be there for them. But at the same time, when I'm thinking about how I'm spending my time each week, I need to be able to evaluate what is going to be best to help me to move towards what I feel like I'm supposed to be. And the reality is the more I do that, the more I can be a resource for the people who do need me the most. And so it's a really important thing. And so again, the person I referred to earlier, they actually did cut some friends out of life, not like drastically, like, hey, I'm not your friend anymore. They just didn't go out of their way to spend time with that person anymore. And when that person, maybe tried to spend time with them, they had other things that came up. And that may sound harsh and that may sound mean, and it's not. You know, it's difficult to really go after our dreams, which is why most people don't do it. And if there's people in your life who are holding you back from that, it makes sense to not be spending as much time with them. So you assess yourself, but be thinking about that, okay? The next is, I would say, the hardest, and that is family. And this is tough because I think, you know, for me, you know, in my life, my family, I am 100% committed to and loyal to no matter what. That's kind of, unless they were, I guess, harming me or other family, I guess, or something in some very negative way. But outside of that, it's a commitment that I have in my life. And so you know, I respect that for everyone. However, I do think that there's a way to kind of go about it. So I wouldn't ever encourage anyone, and I have seen people do this, and I don't recommend it. Again, just, you know, because how I go about it in my life, I would never do this. But I always encourage people to try to gently bring family along for the ride as best as possible, and then, you know, you try to live it out as much as you possibly can, and hope that they'll come for the ride. And where there's real tension, then you try to find a compromise as much as possible, but not to the extent that it holds you back from going after your dream. And so it's a real kind of careful balancing act that you play there with immediate family. But it still is something, I mean, I think it's very important to share it with family. Like, this is who I am. I believe this is the best thing for everybody, and this is my dream, and this is my passion, and I need you to try to support me in that. Those are the kinds of things that you'd want to say, and at the same time understanding where they're from. And I saying, I get it, you're not exactly built like that, and let's work on it. You know, those kinds of things. That's what I would encourage. But it's an important open dialogue that you should have to work towards that, because you really do want to have the most positive environment you can to help you to grow. Okay. And the reality is as you do that, again, family will be the hardest, but the other things I talk about, as you remove some of that negativity, it's likely that you're actually going to feel a lot better as a result of doing that. Some of it will be hard, and there'll be some struggles in there. But I think overall you're going to get a sense of, yeah, you know what, this is good. This is what I needed to do. Okay. Now the next step, once you've removed that, right, and once you've created that new space and removed the negativity, what do you think we need to do? Yes, we need to replace it with positivity, right? So we need to begin to then intentionally create the ideal environment. So what books, shows, webinars like this one can you be filling your time with to boost your dream, right? What are those things that you can be taking in that are going to help you and support you and encourage you and make you believe that, yes, I can do this? You need to put those things in your life as much as possible, right? Who are the people who are going to encourage you and support your dream, no matter what it is? They're not going to tell you you're crazy. They're going to tell you, yeah, you can do that. It's awesome. Go for it. Who are those people? Surround yourself with those people, okay? Intentionally put those people in your life. Find them, and then just be around them. I'm not telling you stalk them or anything like that, but be around those people. Right. The other part of it is who's already living your dream, right? Who's already further along down the path of living what you want to be living. Spend time with those people. Get to know those people. Get to know how they overcame obstacles. Get to know how they did it. And it may be different for you, but you still can learn. So you can look up to those people and surround yourself with people who are moving in the direction that you desire to go. Okay. If you can do that week to week and fill up all that empty, what was once negative space with really positive information and experiences and interactions, you're going to be shocked at how much better you're going to be prepared to move forward, right? And to overcome obstacles and to move towards the life that you really want to live, right? Your best life possible. And so those are really the steps in doing that, okay? So your homework, and I'm going to cover one more thing, but oh, by the way, tonight's webinar will probably be a little shorter than it was last time. They're always going to change a little based upon the content. So I can't give you an exact ever, but I just wanted to share that with you. Side note. So your homework for this part of it is first, when you finish, when you get off this webinar, or if you come back for the replay, whatever, assess. Think about the people and situations and different things that you're taking in. And are they negative? Are they positive? Where do they stand? Right? The next step is to remove the things that you can remove. Obviously, first remove the things that are easy to remove, and then start working towards the other things, and begin dialogue with other maybe people who are close to you and you care about, that you still want in your life, but just being honest with them about what you need from them in terms of their support. And then from there you build, right? Then you build what you want coming in, and you surround yourself with it. So you assess, you remove, and then you build. That's your homework for this section, okay? All right. Now we're going to move on to talking a little bit about your vision, because in a lot of this, even last week, this week, I've been talking about dreams and vision and all those sorts of things. And so I just want to make sure you understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about, and also begin to maybe even create that. Okay, which next week we're actually probably going to cover that. Not next week, because we usually go every 2 weeks. Next week's Thanksgiving, by the way. Happy Thanksgiving. So in 2 weeks, we'll cover more, and we'll go into more detail with the vision. So I just want to kind of scratch the surface a little bit here tonight. All right. So the first thing that I want you to understand, and we've talked a lot about this word, but is when you create your vision, you need to think big, and you need to be honest with yourself. I would say that I think probably just about every person that I have ever coached, I'm pretty sure that maybe there's one that wasn't, I don't know, but just about every person I've ever coached. And listen, I've coached people who are kind of starting out on their path, and others who are doing extremely successful, millions of dollars, those kinds of things. I've coached people along all that spectrum. And the reality is every single one of them still struggles on some level to be honest about what their true vision is, what they truly want. And I think part of it is I think deep down they know what it is, but I think for them to voice it and to say it to someone, me in that case, is just hard for them. And so I'm going to challenge you that make sure that when we're talking about vision, that you are truly 100% honest with yourself. Do not hold back. Be honest about what you want your life to look like, okay? That is extremely important to building your vision, is that honesty, okay? So here's some things to look for to know if you're on track of building your true vision, okay? So just some things to look out for, because I'm going to have you start working on it a little bit over the next couple weeks. Again, your choice, but just something I'm going to encourage you to do, okay? So the first thing is to know if you're on track is you should be scared. Scared, but excited at the same time. Okay, it's kind of like doing some really adventure, thrill-seeking ride, right? And it's like really, really scary, but at the same time, it's super exciting and exhilarating. That's how you should feel. If you don't feel that way, you're off track. Okay, one of the things I like to liken it to is we went to Jamaica. My wife and I, that was our honeymoon, I believe. Yes, yeah, that was our honeymoon. For our honeymoon. I knew we went to Jamaica for honeymoon, but I was trying to think if this trip was, and I think it was. We went to a place where you could do cliff diving, so you could jump off the cliffs, and this was pretty high. It was, I don't know, 30 feet or so, and it was scary. There's no doubt in my mind. It was scary, but at the same time, it was so exhilarating, right? It was scary to like kind of jump off that cliff, but then once you do it, it's still a little scary, but it's exciting, and you're like, it's just awesome, right? Well, when you are honest about your vision and you're doing this, you know you're on track if you have that combination of fear and exhilaration and excitement, okay? So you need to be looking out for that. If you don't have that, you're probably selling yourself short. That's my guess, okay? All right, so hopefully that helps. The other thing is you shouldn't know how you're gonna get there, okay? If you know exactly how to get to your vision, meaning like you know every detail, you know how you're gonna do it, I don't think it's probably really a vision. It's probably not big enough, because the reality is to get to where you really want to go, typically, I would say, you need to grow. You need to change your mind, to change your results. You're just not there yet. There's a step kind of in each segment, and maybe that's that's part of the scariness. You don't know how you're going to get there, but listen, know where you're going, and then just know what the first step is, then the second step, then the third step. I have a little picture that I use to show that. I'm not going to show it tonight. But you don't get freaked out by how big it is and how far away it is. You just see it and love it and embrace it and say, okay, now it's the first step. And then you love it and you embrace it and you get excited about it, you get a little scared of it, and you say, okay, what's the next step? And you just keep doing that, right? Well, again, we'll get more into that in terms of living it out. I can't help it when I'm talking, I get excited. So you should know how you're going to get there. And then lastly, I would say is it should feel in line with who you are and what's important to you, okay? So when you build your vision, it shouldn't be kind of what the world wants you to have for a vision. It shouldn't be what someone in your life wants your vision to be. It should be in line with who you are and what's important to you, okay? Because everyone's vision and what everyone considers success is different, right? Success, a lot of times that word carries kind of negative connotations sometimes for some people, and honestly for me when I was younger on some level it did, but it doesn't anymore at all. I just think we all have our own success in terms of what that looks like for us, and so you just got to make sure in your vision that when you do it, it's like, yeah, you know what, that fits me, that's who I am, and that's who I would love to be. So when you're doing that, when you're thinking about your vision, there's 6 areas that I generally encourage people to consider in doing their vision, okay? The first is, and these aren't in any specific order at all, okay, but these are the 6, and I'll follow up this webinar and send some of this out to you, these 6 areas and your homework assignments and stuff like that. I'll get that out to you, and I don't know if I'll do it tonight or I'll do it tomorrow. I might do it tomorrow on the early side and get that to you. So anyways, the 6 areas to vision. First is career. What do you want to be doing with your life? See, this the thing is, when you find the right career that it lines up with your passion, it's awesome. It doesn't mean it's easy. I mean, there's certain aspects of my job that are difficult, but I love what I do. You know, I love coaching people and helping people and empowering people, and I don't have any. It's funny, I hear people talk about retirement, and I'm like, I don't ever want to retire. I mean, I want to always have a balance in my life where I'm having fun, and but I'm also doing what I love to do and empowering people. So anyway, so that's career. The second section is finances. And with finances, a lot of people when they go to write their vision, they're like, oh, I just want to have $1 million and I want to do this, and they just kind of randomly start selecting things. What I always tell people in terms of money is, it's funny, when I was younger, I actually had a real issue with money. I didn't want a lot of money. I thought everyone that had a lot of money was like mean or whatever. I don't know. I just had this real bad image about money, which is kind of funny in terms of where I'm at right now, in terms of what I do and stuff. But when you build your vision, you shouldn't build your vision around money. Okay, I would say that. You build your vision, you think about what you want your life to look like. What is your purpose? What do you want to be doing? What are and we'll get to some of these sections in a minute, but what are the fun things you want to do and experiences you want to have? How much do you want to help people? How do you want to help people? And then you ask yourself, okay, how much does it cost to live that life? And then that's your financial goal. That's the financial piece of your vision. And if it's big, great. If it's somewhere in between, great. Whatever it is for you, you decide, okay? So that's finances. And then relationships. I think it's important in your vision that you have the people who you care about the most in your vision, and talking about those relationships, and hopefully how, obviously in your vision, you talk about how good they are and that sort of thing. Talk about physical health. You can talk about spirituality. That's a big one for me. I've shared that before. My faith is extremely important to me, and that's, for me, that defines much of my purpose. And even what I do as a coach, it defines a lot of that. I believe I'm, supposed to really help anyone I can and love everyone and that sort of thing. And whether my faith gets into it or not, that's more on a personal level. But that really does shape a lot of who I am personally. But it's different for every person, but that's one of the areas that I encourage people to look at. The last one here I have, the 6th one, is hobbies and fun. I don't know about you, but I like to have fun. I like to live life. And, sometimes I look at myself and my priorities might be a little bit different than some people's in terms of my life. But I can tell you right now that I'm always telling people that I will give up on a lot of things in order to live life now versus, waiting 10 years to live life. I'm going to, for me, I'm going to live life. It's here, it's now, I'm going to live it. It doesn't mean I'm going to try to be irresponsible or anything like that, but I'm going to try to live life and have fun and have hobbies and that sort of thing. So those are the areas: career, finances, relationships, physical health, spirituality, and then hobbies and fun. Those are the 6 areas, okay? So what I would encourage you to do then is to go get a journal. And if maybe you have one, I would encourage you to get a new one though, or one that's not used. And then what you do is you just start writing. Just start dreaming. You can use these 6 areas just as a guide, but don't get so static and like, okay, career, just write, just dream out, on paper. And it's funny because a lot of people have a hard time, like I said, they have a hard time sharing it with someone. A lot of people have a hard time writing it down because it makes it more real. But understand, when you write, there is no right and wrong. There is no you can or you can't. You're just brainstorming. You're just dreaming. You're just thinking. This isn't your vision yet. We'll get to that in a couple of weeks. For now, though, just journal. Over the next couple of weeks, just start journaling about what you want your life to look like, and just get yourself in a quiet place, and just start writing. And just have fun with it. And don't worry about it. Again, no right or wrong. Don't go back and erase anything. Even if you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Just leave it, and then you'll have to go back and look, and we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. So just start writing, just start brainstorming, think big, get a little scared, but don't worry about right and wrong, and just write, okay? And enjoy yourself. Have fun with it, all right? And remember, be honest, think big, and be scared, okay? If you're not doing those things, then you're probably off track, all right? Okay, so next, I just want to give you actually your homework. We're pretty close to the end here. So the homework, going over again, is, so from the previous, when we were talking about kind of building our ideal environment, the homework was assess, right? Assess kind of who's around you, what's around you. Remove the negative, the kind of dream killers, that kind of stuff. Remove that from your life as much as you can. And then fill that space with positive. Okay, those are the 3 kind of activities for that. And then for this part, I want you to dream in your journal. Dream out loud in your journal. Okay. All right. So that's your homework. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you feel motivated. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel good. I know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. I really, really do. Not saying it's going to be easy. Not saying it's going to happen overnight. But I fully believe that you can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. I believe you can change your mind to change the results. And I'd love to help you do that. And please, I know I've said it many times in the emails and Facebook, please do start sharing this with people. I really want to spread the word on this. There's a lot of people that need to hear this. I know there is. I see people walking around all the time talking about kind of their life and where it's at, and they're clearly living plan B. And we can help them to live plan A. I want to help empower you, but you can help me to empower others too. So please, do go spread the word. Let people know what's going on here, and hopefully we can get a huge crowd in here and we can really impact lives together. So please, I know maybe it's a little scary for you to share it or whatever, but man, I'm telling you, it can make a difference in people's lives. I hope it makes a difference in yours. Okay? All right, well, that's about it. We'll talk more about vision and go into details about that next time. And that's about it. Thanks so much for being here, and go out there and live life on purpose. All right. And again, if you have any questions, anything, feel free to go ahead and email me and get in touch with me, or comments, how this impacted you. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear that. That would be helpful. Okay. Thanks so much. To great success. See you later.